Hi everyone, welcome to STEP. I see folks trickling in, so I'll give it a minute. I know that there's sometimes that surprise Zoom registration as you are all coming into the space. So I'm going to go over just the program in general before we get to the main content, which is advising for today. So please know if you're just coming now, you haven't missed anything, and I'll go ahead and just start going over a little bit of the program and what to expect. I'll start by introducing myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Tessa. I am the Assistant Director at the Triton Transfer Hub. I'm joined by Simon Roberts, who was our STEP Student Program Coordinator last year and is joining us today for what's usually our biggest STEP presentation because advising is such an important thing here at UC San Diego. Just so you all know what to expect, we're going to go through some slides of what the STEP program is. A lot of you might have gotten an email from our team last night inviting you to the program and this webinar, but there's so much more than just today that supports in welcoming you into the STEP program and into UC San Diego. And that will also give folks some time to fill out those Zoom registrations. Then I'll pass off to two of our wonderful leaders in advising from campus to go over different pieces. We will have a Q&A at the very end. So if you do put things in the Q&A box, please know they're not going to be addressed until after the presentation, but that me and my team are noting what the questions are, and we'll make sure that those get answered by the end. I'll go ahead and get started on just talking about what STEP here is. So if you're new and you aren't registered for STEP, this QR code will take you there. STEP is going to be weekly Wednesday webinars and more things that I'll talk about, but this will just make sure that you're getting the recording and notes that happen with all of our transfer talks, research and involvement series, as well as our transfer student success series. What you are in today and what will be at the same Zoom link every Wednesday now through August are our transfer talks. So the way we try to design this is having a presentation a week to 2 weeks before a deadline is coming up. Next week is timely. It will be your transcripts and IGETC because that deadline is coming up for you in just under a month of needing to get those in. So if you were to come to every single step, you would not miss any deadlines for enrollment and you would be well prepared for coming in. We also answer questions like parking, financial aid. This is really the meat and bones of the program. They're all in this webinar style and you're here for questions. We also have a leg of this program called Transfers Connect. This is an opportunity for you to get to meet one another and begin building community and connect with each other before the year even starts. We do these based off of topics, and we also do these based off of identity. Last year, our first gen Transfers Connect was one of our most attended sessions, having over 150 students participating. And our first Transfers Connect is next week. It's going to be Tuesday. It's called So You Got Accepted, Now What? And it's going to be just some general questions, some acronyms here at UCSD. And that one will be virtual. So you'll be in breakout rooms with others led by some of our peer coaches. And we'll also have other identity-based ones. Military Connected is coming up in June as well. Once we get to July and August, we'll offer a couple of those both virtually and in person. So if you're local to San Diego and you want to come meet people in person, or sometimes people strategically will plan apartment tours and things around those, we'd love to have you on campus. We always host and cater a lunch for folks who participate. So all of that's included in your registration. Looking ahead for what's coming up soon, our next, as I mentioned, Transfers Connect is next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, we're going to be covering IGETC and transcripts. That's always another really well-attended session and folks have a lot of questions. And then after that, the next Wednesday is financial aid, making sure that you're getting prepared for your upcoming year. So a lot of the most asked questions are what we start with in kicking off the program. I'm going to pass to my colleague here, Elizabeth, to introduce herself and talk a little bit about her series in the program.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm the Research and Involvement Coordinator at the Triton Transfer Hub. So what I do in my role is I support transfer students like you that are interested in getting involved in research and other type of involvement. So to start that off, I'm going to have a little section of STEP this summer. So it'll start in July. So definitely look out for research and involvement talks or series, or what we call the R&I series. And so in this series, I'll go on the basics on what you need to know to get involved in research and other involvement opportunities. So, how to outreach to faculty, how to email them, where to find research opportunities, what kind of research opportunities exist at UCSD, right? All these great questions will be answered in the research and involvement series. So, yeah, thanks so much.
And then I'll pass to Ali as well, who's our transfer retention specialist, to talk about her series coming up this summer.
Hi, awesome. Thanks, Tessa. Like Tessa mentioned, I am Ali Shomley, and I am the transfer retention specialist within the Transfer Hub. And I was a previous transfer myself, and so I am really excited to meet with you all about academic success skills, how to adjust to UCSD, and how to really transfer your previous knowledge, whether you've been at a community college or a four-year institution. You already have such great experience to bring to UCSD. So we're going to talk a lot about how to translate that from your previous institution to make sure that you're successful here. And then we'll also kind of review different success strategies that our current transfer coaches and students have been using that have really been beneficial for them, including things like balancing academics and really focusing on academic well-being. So kind of doing some of that redefining of what academic success means and taking a really holistic approach to what success means at UCSD. And I think that really incorporates academics, physical, personal health, and stuff like that. And so that is just a brief overview, but I'm super excited to kick things off with you this fall. And so I look forward to seeing you at my Transfer Success Series workshops. But thanks, Tessa. I'll pass it back.
So we know you're all here for one of our most asked questions of the entire summer, which is connecting with advisors here at UC San Diego. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so I can pass off to our advising leaders and talk about how this works. I mentioned it at the beginning, but I'll mention it just one more time. We do have a Q&A box. If you want to hold your questions, we'll have a Q&A section at the very end. Anything that comes through won't be answered until the end of their presentation, but Simon and I will make sure at the end to be sure that your questions are addressed. And if there's questions that are asked a lot, we'll talk about those as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass off to Veronica. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting us. Very excited, especially to see, wow, almost 200 people here. This is awesome. All right, so you are here for Connecting with Advisors at UC San Diego, starting off with introduction. So my name is Veronica Abreu. I'm the Dean of Academic Advising for 8th College.
And I am Courtney Campbell, and I am the Student Affairs Project Lead, and I work in the School of Arts and Humanities.
All right, so to start us off, I do want to start with our acknowledgements. So the first one is our land acknowledgement. So the UC San Diego community holds great respect for the land and original people of the area where our campus is located. The university is built on the unceded territory of the Kumeyaay Nation. Today, the Kumeyaay people continue to maintain their political sovereignty and cultural traditions as vital members of the San Diego community. We acknowledge their tremendous contributions to our region and thank them for their stewardship. I also want to include the labor acknowledgement. So we must acknowledge that much of what we know of this country today, including its culture, economic growth, and development throughout history and across time, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their ascendants who suffered the horror of the transatlantic trafficking of their people, chattel slavery, and Jim Crow. So we are indebted to their labor and their sacrifice, and we must acknowledge the tremors of that violence that's felt throughout the generations and the resulting impact that can still be felt and witnessed today. So now moving into the agenda or the roadmap for the rest of this presentation, we're going to start with an overview of advising services at UC San Diego, since that will be different from the arrangement you're probably used to. Then we'll talk about what to expect this summer in regards to advising, what needs to happen before August, which will be your enrollment time for fall quarter, things you should be doing now and resources to help you, and then some tips from advising. So I'm going to ask again that you hold your questions until the end, as we may answer it during the presentation piece of these session slides. So to start, this graphic shows many of the different advising services on campus. Depending on your college, you will have advisors in the college. Again, I'm from 8th College, but each college has their own staff or advisors. Think of college advisors as the generalist who will help direct and support you. You are focused most heavily on advising, we are most focused heavily on advising in general education and university requirements in the college. You will also work closely with department advisors for your specific major or minor requirements. And if you have pre-professional goals like pre-med or pre-dentistry, there are also dedicated advisors for that in health beat roles at the Career Center. They will help you determine your path for professional programs and any additional prerequisite courses that you may need before you apply to those graduate and professional programs. If you're an international student, you will work with advisors in the International Services and Engagement Office. If you're a scholar athlete, you'll have an advisor in athletics who will help with NCAA compliance. And some departments or majors also connect students with faculty advisors. We also work closely with campus partners and supporting units who have advisors, counselors, coordinators who help support students. Some examples include the CAS and the Transfer Hub. I also want to point out that financial aid and Office for Students with Disabilities, we do not have information from these offices unless you give permission to share it with us. As a side note, if you need any academic accommodations through the Office for Students with Disabilities, please act now. Do not wait. You should schedule an appointment as soon as possible so you can get the process started. So you're all set when classes start on Thursday, September 25th. And when we talk about truly academic advising in terms of your degree requirements, classes, and earning your degree, you will need to be in touch with college advisors and department advisors. So we're going to give you a lot of information today, and it may feel overwhelming, but the one thing you just need to remember is that you have support from advisors starting June 18th after you complete your new Trident advising. And if you forget what you should be doing or how you can contact us, just remember this new easy web page that launched just this week, which actually yesterday. So advising.ucsd.edu. Here you will be able to learn about advising services at UC San Diego. You can get a link to contact your advisors through the Virtual Advising Center and a link to the important advising related dates you need to know about. And if you select the Advising Tools button, you will go to this web page that links out to the advising tools you would need throughout your time here. And another reason this is a great source is because it has information about additional resources and support, including tips on how to talk to your professors, information about academic support, career and professional development information, and just a whole lot more. So please do take some time this summer to look through it and see what UC San Diego has to offer. Now, throughout the presentation or your time talking to advisors at UC San Diego, you might hear us refer to the VAC, and you might ask, what is the VAC and how do I reach my advisors and who are my advisors? The VAC is the Virtual Advising Center, and it is how academic advisors communicate with students. We do not use email. The VAC is a centralized system where you can submit questions and will then get responses. This way, your department advisors and college advisors can all see the communication in one place, have access to your academic record, and be able to advise you more thoroughly. The VAC is crucial at UC San Diego as a tool for you to be in contact with advisors. We will send important information to you through there. So here you can see what it looks like when you log in. If you do have a question, you can go to this Ask a Question button anytime in your whole time here at UC San Diego. This will start June 18th, but I'll go into that a little bit more after Courtney. So now I will hand it off to Courtney to talk about what you should be doing over the next couple of months to prepare for fall quarter.
Thank you, Veronica. All right, through the next few slides, I'll give you an overview of what you can expect over the summer as far as transcripts, which are received and evaluated by the Office of Admissions, the review of student records by major departments and colleges, a brief overview of transfer credit, and then I'll also talk about submitting petitions for general education and or major requirements if necessary. Next slide. So summer is a really busy time for receiving and evaluating transcripts here at UCSD. So at this time, one of the most important things that you can do to prepare is submit your transcripts on time. July 1st is the deadline for all official college and university transcripts to be postmarked and sent to the UCSD Office of Admissions. You also want to make sure that you send in your IGETSI certification and any AP or IB scores that you have as well. It's really important to have your transfer coursework submitted to UCSD on time so that it gets posted to your record in a timely manner, which allows advisors to have an accurate picture of your entire academic history before you begin at UCSD. We really want to be able to make accurate course suggestions for you when it's time for your enrollment. So it can take some time for all incoming records to be evaluated, with the Office of Admissions receiving thousands of documents, as you can imagine, and then entering and evaluating all of that data. So it might seem like it's taking a little bit of time for your transfer coursework to be posted, and we just ask for your patience during that time. Your admissions enrollment checklist will also be updated once your documents are received. And if your transcripts are sent on time, transfer coursework will be posted to your UCSD academic record, like your academic history and your degree audit by August 12th. While you're preparing for your transition and enrollment for fall, advisors are also working in the background as admissions is receiving and posting your transfer coursework to your record. Most colleges and major departments will begin to review student records, as well as make sure that appropriate credit is being granted for your transfer coursework, and that your transfer coursework is applying to your degree audit accurately. You should note that some departments may ask you to submit copies of your unofficial transcripts and exam scores to their offices as well. You'll likely receive this messaging from your major advisors if this is something that the department requires. So this would be in addition to submitting those official transcripts to the Office of Admissions. I want to share that sometimes advisors need to manually update your record, like your degree audit, if transfer coursework is not automatically applying towards degree requirements that it should be applied to. So as you can see, there's a lot that goes on into making sure that everything is posted accurately. So while advisors are reviewing student records, it's common for them to contact students who need to submit petitions to have certain transfer coursework evaluated for credit at UCSD. And I'll talk about this more in a moment, but just keep that in mind. And then lastly, during the summer, advisors are answering questions from new students and preparing for orientations and welcome sessions or info sessions. Many major departments will host orientation or info sessions that is separate from the orientations that are hosted by your college. If you don't receive information about a major department orientation over the next couple of months, you're welcome to follow up with your own major advisor for additional information. And next slide. So I'm going to give a brief overview of how transfer credit is evaluated. You're going to learn more about your degree requirements through your orientations, and you'll also have communication with your college and major advisors. But I do want to point out some key takeaways for today. First, the Office of Admissions determines which courses are UC transferable. If a course is UC transferable, the transfer course gets posted to your academic history and it will apply to your degree in some shape or form. One resource that is very helpful to reference is assist.org, which many of you might already be familiar with. The website assist.org shows transfer agreements between California community colleges and four-year institutions like UCSD. So you can use assist.org to determine which community college courses grant equivalent credit to UCSD courses or not. And when you're reviewing assist.org, keep in mind that some agreements are course-for-course agreements, while others are series-to-series agreements. So a course-for-course agreement means that completion of a single course at a California community college will grant equivalent credit for a specific course at UCSD. Whereas with the series agreement, a student must complete all coursework listed in the series at the community college in order to receive equivalent UCSD series credit. Partial completion of that community college series does not grant partial equivalent UCSD credit. So if you're looking at assist.org and it seems complex or confusing, you're not sure how to interpret the agreements, you're welcome to, and it's a really good idea to reach out to an advisor. If you have questions about how transfer credit specifically applies towards your degree, You'll either want to wait for information from advisors, or you can later contact either your college or major advisors. Just as another reminder, if you have any questions related to your major, you'd want to contact your major advisor. So for instance, if you're a biology student and you have questions about your biology transfer coursework, whether it's chem, bio, math, physics, you would reach out to a biology major advisor. If you have questions regarding your general education, your university, your total unit requirements, or your IGETC certification, you'd want to contact your college advisor. All right, let's talk about course petitions. Not every student will need to submit a petition, but some of you will. If you took courses according to the transfer agreements on assist.org, you don't need to petition. However, if you took a course out of state or out of the United States, you'll likely need to submit a petition because most likely that course has not been evaluated for UCSD credit yet. I mentioned earlier that some colleges and departments will be reviewing student records, and some will reach out to students proactively to inform you if you should submit a course petition. If you're unsure if you need to submit a petition, you could reach out to your college or major advisors. And again, it may be that some college and major departments will reach out to you first. So that you're aware, departments can operate pretty differently in terms of how they want you to submit a petition or how they process petitions. So I recommend looking at your department major website, and they will likely have information on how they want you to submit that petition for review. Generally, if you need to submit a petition, you'll need to fill out the undergraduate petition form. You'll need to submit a copy of your course syllabus as well. So it's a really good idea to gather all of that if you have syllabi in a file somewhere or on your computer and get that all together. Petitions can take several weeks to be processed as they often need to be evaluated by faculty members. And keep in mind that petitions are not guaranteed to be approved. If you have lots of questions about transfer coursework, that brand new advising website does address transfer credit and transfer coursework as well. So it's a great resource. The outcome of petitions is usually relayed to students via the Virtual Advising Center, VAC, which we just talked about. And Veronica is going to talk more about, and I'm going to pass it back to her.
Alrighty, so as I mentioned before, the VAC is the Virtual Advising Center. You can start asking questions through the VAC on June 18th, but first, before you have access, you need to complete new Trident Advising and submit your academic background. Depending on your college and major, you may not end up meeting with an advisor until after you enroll. College advisors and department advisors have different models based off of their staffing. Many of them just cannot meet with incoming students individually. So they will send messages through the VAC and they will start drop-in advising maybe in August or September. But you will have access to advisors every day, Monday through Friday, through the VAC. As I mentioned, you need to submit your academic background in order to have access to submit questions through the VAC. This is all self-reported information. For example, classes you are currently taking, placement information such as test scores. That helps us in advising to be able to prepare to advise you for enrollment. And why? Why would we need the unofficial information from you? Well, the reality is that if you submit your transcripts July 1, it might not be posted until mid-August and you enroll August 13th. So we need this self-reported information to get a head start on helping you. So try to submit every class you have taken. If you make a mistake, don't worry, it's just self-reported. Departments will have some pertinent information for majors through different modalities. So some may have information sessions or orientations. They may be in person or online. They may be self-paced. They may be a specific date and time. Please be sure to read your @ucsd.edu emails and follow instructions for registration and sign up. Additionally, some departments may request incoming students to schedule appointments to receive fall major course recommendations. Some departments will send fall major course recommendations through the VAC, again, available in the contact record area. And if you do not receive major recommendations by mid-August and need assistance, definitely reach out to the department through the VAC. When you get through the new Trident Advising, you will have access to the VAX Ask a Question feature, and that's where you can direct to questions to the college or department to receive assistance throughout the summer and beyond. So one resource you can use to understand what our advising units are doing is this Find Advising link on the advising.ucsd.edu web page. There's going to be a button there that says Academic Advising by Service Unit, and that link will lead you to this Google Sheet, which has information about how each college or department is supporting incoming students. This is also a new resource for incoming students, so please make sure to take a look and use it. I see in the chat already, or in the Q&A, students are asking, how can I meet with their good Marshall advisors? How can I meet with engineering advisors? This is the best place to start to see what their options will be, because again, the availability for advising is different for each college and department just based off of staffing. So turning over to the process of when you'll actually enroll in classes, don't worry about if it feels late compared to peers who might be going to semester-based schools. You'll find out your enrollment time on July 28th. UCSD has a 2-pass enrollment system. What that means is you get to choose up to 11.5 units, usually 2 classes, 8 units, during your first pass, which is 48 hours long. Then other incoming students get to register. Then your second pass enrollment window opens, where you can enroll in up to 19.5 units until the first day of classes. So that allows you to get to that 12 units or more, which will allow you to get to full-time course load. This helps makes things more equitable so that students at the end don't get left without any course options. It'll be important to strategize the top 2 classes you should add during first pass. Your first pass enrollment will be between August 13th and 15th. Please be sure to mark your calendars, set an alarm on your phone, whatever you have to do to not miss it. Enrollment times are assigned randomly and they are staggered across the day. Your second pass will start around August 18th through the end of week 2 of classes. Some departments will hold seats for incoming students. So if you start looking at the schedule of classes now or over the summer, closer to enrollment, don't worry about everything showing as full. Current students are enrolling in their fall classes now, but many departments will hold seats for in many courses for incoming students that they know that students typically will need to enroll in. This doesn't mean that every course will be available, but it does mean that you should not worry too much right now about what course availability looks like. The other really important information about enrollment is that you could have holds on your account that prevent you from enrolling if you don't complete some of the steps you need to take, like vaccine compliance, submitting all of your documents, and taking required training. So I'll talk more about holds shortly. For now, don't panic about enrolling in classes. You still have plenty of time, and there's little we can tell you about specifics right now because we don't have your full academic history yet. In the meantime, there are some things you should do. So 1, follow your enrollment checklist at beatrident.ucsd.edu. This is your North Star. It includes send your transcripts to admissions, and that includes your high school transcripts. One of the university requirements is your American History and Institutions requirement. If you took an American History or Government in high school, it may clear your AHI. We do also need a high school transcript for some students who may have a language requirement for their college, for example, ERC or Revell, or some majors like international business. They may need to see your high school transcript to clear that language requirement. So again, sending your high school transcript can be very helpful. Also, you'll want to send your IGETC certificate to admissions, and it has to be a UC-specific IGETC certificate sent from the most recent community college you attended. This is not always on your community college transcript automatically. So for questions, be sure to contact your community college or look online at their registrar's page or transfer center page about how to order this IGETC certificate. If you're just 1 to 2 classes away from completing your IGETC, it might be worth it to finish it up this summer. Your IGETC or IGETC partial must be completed before you start at UC San Diego. You cannot go back to finish your IGETC or IGETC partial after you start taking classes here. So make sure to talk to your community college advisors to confirm your status. Next, you also want to send any AP or IB scores to admissions. If you don't have any, don't worry about it. But if you did take AP exams or you have IB exams, make sure to send those to admissions so that gets posted to your academic history as well. Submit your academic background on New Trident Advising. Again, that starts June 18th. You're going to sign up for orientations, check your UCSD email daily. And some other proactive things you can do in a little over a month are start looking at classes, tentative course options to start imagining what your schedule could look like, check your academic history, check your degree audit, and again, be patient. Finally, I want to share a few pro tips. First of all, we really do mean it when we say check your email. It's the official communication system at UC San Diego. You are going to get a lot of emails, but the earlier you can develop a system to manage your emails, the better off you will be. That will also serve you very well for life after college in the career world. You will have the option to get text message alerts when someone sends you a message through the Virtual Advising Center. You will also get an email when you get a message, but text message alerts are a great way to avoid missing important information related to your record or status. If you aren't sure about something, try to Google it. I know it might sound funny, but there really are some great resources at UC San Diego. Look for UCSD web pages. For example, questions about CSE course offerings throughout the year. Try UCSD CSE course offerings and see what comes up. Also, I want to share about the holds we most often see that prevent students from being able to enroll. It is very important to know that advising cannot lift these holds. But we do get many frustrated students in August who try to enroll and realize that they didn't finish something that they needed to do on their enrollment checklist, and now they missed their first pass enrollment. Some of these holds can take up to 10 days to be removed, so it can go well into your second pass before, say, a vaccine hold is removed or lifted. So please make sure to start on that process early and don't wait until the last minute. Additionally, petitions, make sure to get syllabus and course descriptions now if you think you might need a petition for UC San Diego course equivalency. And then again, really take some time to look through the UCSD advising website and use the the summer 2025 advising services by unit. This webpage has a list of really important dates for incoming students as well. So please check that out and then add calendar reminders again if you need it so you do not forget. Last, before we go into questions, please make sure to bookmark or flag that one webpage, advising.ucsd.edu. From there, you can access different resources we talked about, like New Trident Advising, the Virtual Advising Center, advising tools like My Trident Link, and academic advising services by unit information. So that is our presentation portion. So now we can go into questions.
Boy, we have a lot of questions coming in. Our first one is, I'm a transfer student. How can I take classes this summer as I transfer in?
So you will be enrolling through summer session, but if you have questions about which courses you should be taking, it's a little bit more difficult. Again, it depends on the college or the department, whether or not they will do any advising. So first start by looking at the advising services by unit to see if they are offering drop-ins. For example, 8th College is or I know Raval College is offering drop-ins on Wednesday afternoons for incoming transfer students. And so it'll vary by unit. So make sure to check out that advising services by unit to see if you can connect with your department or college advisors before summer enrollment begins or before summer courses start.
Thank you.
I will say that the summer session website has pretty extensive instructions on the application enrollment process for incoming students specifically. So you'll see that's where I belong. Here are the steps that I follow.
And I just submitted that link in the chat for you all. And the link that I posted has the incoming transfer specific FAQ drawer open. So if you click that link that I just shared, that will give you that step-by-step that Courtney had just mentioned. Where will students go to access new Triton advising when that opens?
So the actual webpage is vac.ucsd.edu, vac.ucsd.edu. But again, if you don't remember anything else from this presentation, advising.ucsd.edu will have the link to that, and you'll be able to get to there through there. But the direct link is vac.ucsd.edu.
And when I go to the VAC, who am I communicating with? My college advisor there, or am I communicating with my major advisor there? Who's available for me on the VAC?
So every unit, every advising unit, whether it's college, department, majors, department minors, all of this are on the VAC. So you'll be able to have the option to pick who you're going to send your question to. You can send it to the college, you can send it to departments, and sometimes students don't know who to send it to. So the colleges get a brunt of it. And if we see the question, we're like, oh, this is a major question, we can forward it on for you to the department. So even if you're not sure who to send it to, just start by sending it to the college and we can get it to where it needs to go.
Thank you. Can you also go over what it means to have a two-pass system? You said first pass and second pass. What does that mean for me when I'm signing up for classes?
Courtney, you want to take that one? Or I can take it.
You take it.
Okay. So two pass means that you can't enroll in more than 11.5 units in that first 48-hour time frame. So you're going to have two different enrollment windows. The first one starts August 13th-ish, and you're going to have 48 hours to enroll in up to 11.5 units, which is a weird number. It's just under the 12 units of full-time status. But for most students, it's going to be two classes, 8 units that you get to enroll in, because that third class will put you over that 12 units, so you wouldn't be able to add that third class. So you enroll in two classes, and then you have to wait for your second pass to open up. And during second pass, then you can add up to 19.5 units. And the reason the campus does this is to make sure that the students who are enrolling at the end, because of the randomized assigned times, they're not left with absolutely nothing. So this way, ideally, everyone gets at least something that they need to be enrolled in. And then, yes, maybe like your third class may have to be something that you weren't hoping for, but it might be an elective. It will be something that you still need, but maybe just not like the top priority for you.
Thank you. One question that I'm getting asked a lot in the chat here is questions regarding a class that you said you were going to take, or maybe you failed in your community college, or something that's missing from your transcript. Those questions should be routed specifically to admissions. And the best place to do that is if you go to your applicant portal, the viatriton.com. On the top there's a bar that says contact us. You should click that and say, I failed or I didn't get into this spring class, and let them know there if that was something on your planner. That's not done through advising, that's done through enrollment, because that's still processing your previous coursework. And the best way to talk about anything based on enrollment is going through your applicant portal rather than the UCSD contact us site. And that's because it directly links all of your application materials with it and puts it right in front of them with all the info needed. So any questions regarding if I'm missing classes, if there's something that if there's a class I need to take this summer, all of those classes of your missing coursework from your previous institution, go to your enrollment checklist and that contact us site, because the folks here aren't going to be able to support on that process. There's also a lot of questions here regarding IGETC and transcript processing. We intentionally have an entire hour for that next week, and that's going to be led by our Assistant Director of Admissions for transfer, as well as another academic advisor to talk through that on this side. So I want to make sure we're not using too much time for today to go over that info, because we have experts in that here next week as well. Questions I'm seeing here still are, how would they go about changing their major? And how do they communicate that with an advisor?
Once they are officially enrolled in classes for fall quarter, then they can use the major minor tool to change their major, as long as it's not a selective major. So selective majors are going to be majors that have limits just based off of capacity. So maybe the demand is too high. For example, a lot of the engineering majors, so computer science, electrical, computer engineering, will be selective majors just because the demand is too high. But if you want to change from, say, psychology to urban planning and studies, easy, you can do that as soon as you enroll in classes using the major minor tool. So you can't officially do it until you're enrolled, but if you have questions for those departments, say you're switching from psychology to UPS, you can send a question to the UPS department advisors through the virtual advising center after you complete your new Trident advising.
And I would recommend, if you are thinking about changing your major and you do so after that time when you can, connect with that new major department, connect with that new major advisor, because they may have sent communications out to their current students or their new incoming students over the summer that you didn't get. You were in a different major. So it's really important that you connect with them, get all that information, make sure that if there's a class that you really need to take for that new major, that you understand the curriculum or any messaging you may have missed.
The other thing with that is, for if you are in a selective major, so say you're a computer science and engineering major declared and you're just playing around with the system, if you move out of a selective major, there's no guarantee that you can go back into it. You will have to go through their whole process to be able to move back into it. So be very careful about playing with the major minor tool if you are in a selective major. I've had students who were like, I just wanted to see what would happen. I didn't know it would actually change. And I'm like, you clicked confirm like 3 times. So please, please, please be very careful with that. If you're just looking to see what will happen, your major is going to change. Tessa?
If they want to add a double major, is it the same process as changing your major?
No, for double majors, you'll have a whole double major petition form that you have to get signed, along with a quarter by quarter plan that has to be reviewed and approved by both major departments and then submitted to the college. You have to be in good academic standing, and you can't be in good academic standing until you actually complete 1 quarter. So we definitely recommend for you to wait, go through the actual fall quarter to see what classes are like here at UCSD before you start trying to add a double major. And then in winter quarter, if you're like ready for that, then you can go ahead and start the process. But you won't be able to declare a double major until after fall quarter.
So I'm coming in next year. When do I get to talk to an advisor? The question I keep seeing. I can give the transfer hub answer for that.
Please.
So where this is tricky in that you're going to transition the way that you're interacting with advisors. When folks hear the VAC, they think that it's like a chat bot or something. It's not. When you send a message, you're going to get access to the VAC, and it's going to open for you in less than 2 weeks. When that opens, you're going to have a chance to go and submit a question there. And what's fantastic and really helpful about the VAC is that whoever knows the answer is going to be the one who's getting back to you. So if it's something that needs to get escalated to a dean, that's who's going to be responding to you. But it's giving you a chance to send one message and not get passed around from person to person. So you're not, some colleges and some majors will have face-to-face meetings over the summer, but you will have what you need to be ready to register for classes when registration opens, because you'll have back-to-back or back and forth conversation with advising. We also have a step presentation just before your registration will open called How to Use Your Advising Tools to Sign Up for Classes, where we'll show you exactly where to open your VAC 2 and step by step that process of signing up. I'm hearing and seeing a lot of anxiety in these questions, and please know that people will be communicating with you, and you will be getting answers through the VAC. It might not look like a face-to-face meeting like you may have had at your previous institution. It will later, but this summer it won't. But that doesn't mean that people aren't answering your questions. They are here. That's my answer to that question. I hope that clarified some things. Other questions, swapping majors. How will I know? So if I'm going to change majors, how would I let an advisor know that to make sure I'm signing up for the right classes in fall?
So when you do send the VAC message, you'll have to note that, because there's nowhere else to note it except for it is available on the academic background that you submit. So college advisors will be able to see that this student is declared in biology but plans to switch over to global health. But our department advisors don't have access to that piece. So if you're sending a question, it's best to note that, just like, and highlighting it for them. Like, I'm currently a biology major. I plan to switch into global health, and maybe this is what I plan to enroll in. Does that make sense? And then from there, the college advisors and department advisors could take time to answer those questions. And I see a question about UC reciprocity I'd like to answer,
Yes.
just because it is super important. So UC reciprocity, every college will accept a full UC reciprocity, but not all of them will accept partial. So it is super important that if you do have any remaining courses to finish your UC reciprocity, try to finish it this summer, so that way you have full UC reciprocity, and when you come over, there's no doubt about where you stand. Because again, it will vary by college, and you'll have to, if you have questions about it, you can send questions to your college advisor once the VAC opens on June 18th. So definitely make sure that that's completed. Confirm with your advisors at your current UC to, confirm that everything's good to go. Or, do I have 1 or 2 classes remaining? Because some colleges will accept full UC or partial reciprocity, but some may not. So just to be on the safe side, it's better to have it fully completed before you start taking courses here at UCSD.
Folks are looking on some of the websites and seeing that classes are looking really full. Are new spots going to open for transfer students in August?
I can, yes, some of the departments do hold classes back, or do hold seats back in the classes to make sure that there are seats available for our incoming students. So, obviously can't guarantee that that's going to be the case for each course that you're looking at, but just know that that many departments do hold those seats back. So the class numbers are going to look a little bit different when you get to that August enrollment.
And just to add to that too, some departments will have web pages that tell you what their status is for that. So like Courtney and I used to work in computer science and engineering. We had a whole web page about, maybe CSC 8A or 100. And yes, we're releasing this many seats for current students, and then the remaining seats are being reserved for incoming students. And so it gives you a better idea of where you stand. So it might be worth it to look at those department web pages to see if they have information about holding seats for incoming students.
Can you clarify for our students, what would you talk to a major advisor about versus what would you talk to your college's advisor about?
Well, I'll start with the major advisor piece, and then Veronica can talk about the college advisor piece. So anything major or department related, you're going to have that conversation with your major advisor. So that could be course related, so what classes to enroll in. You might go to them for major or department related like resources, opportunities, organizations. So anything that's really related to the major or the department, faculty, all of those types of pieces. So if you're petitioning a class that is a major class, that's going to go through your major department. If there is a particular process or policy that's related to your major, it'll go through your major department. So for instance, if there's a course that you need to get into, but for some reason you don't meet the prerequisites or there's restrictions or whatever, that request will go through that'll go through whoever the course is related with. So really think of it as far as anything related to your major, not your GE, just those major classes is going to go through the major advisor.
As transfer students, most of your questions will probably be for your major or minor departments. But anything related to like those Gs, again, will come to the colleges. But also, a lot of what I talk to students about is struggling in academic coursework. So if you get here and you're struggling in your classes and you realize like, oh my gosh, I don't know what resources I have available, come talk to the college advisors. We're a good place to start, and we can get you to the resources that you need in order to help support you. We can also talk about policies. So, if you have to drop a class or withdraw from a class, what does that mean for you? Going part-time, if you work 20 plus hours a week and you realize like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to take full-time course load, I need to go part-time, come and talk to your college advisors. We can definitely talk to you about options. So there's going to be a variety of reasons, and there's no wrong place to start really. If you start with your major or you start with your college, and we can get started on the conversation, but we may end up saying, okay, now I need you to go talk to Courtney over in visual arts and ask XYZ questions, and then she'll be able to kind of answer the remaining stuff that maybe your college advisor couldn't. So there's no wrong place to start, as long as you actually reach out for help. So whether it's the transfer hub, whether it's the college or your major advisors, any of that is fine as long as you're reaching out for help.
Something else I'm going to mention here, just based off some of the questions that I'm seeing. Within the transfer hub, in the email that you got yesterday from me, at the very bottom, it says meet with a peer coach. So some of these questions about the logistics of how these things work, and if you want to talk face to face with somebody with that, the transfer hub is open. We close just for July 1st through like 5th or 6th for summer training of our new folks. But people like Simon will be with us, and Simon's one of our peer coaches from this year. We have them from a wide variety of majors. We continue some of our peer coaches from now until June 30th, and then July 5th, we start our new summer peer coaches. So some of these questions of just how does this work or what's this logistic, we have people ready. There's appointments as soon as tomorrow who can talk to you about these things. They're current transfer students, they're graduating, so they've been successful in this journey. So Simon, can you, oh, you already did it. You're so on it. We have our peer coaching appointments there. So if you want to ask some more logistics, you can book with someone with a similar major and ask a lot about like these first and second passes or different things here. Please know there are folks able to talk to you about some of these things.
I do see a question about transcripts, and I get they'll talk about that again next week, but just so you don't freak out. Yes, if you sent your transcript and it didn't have IGETC yet, you can go back and ask your community college to send it again with the UC specific IGETC certification. It's not too late to send it. Even if it's after that July 1st deadline, it's just the sooner we have it, the sooner it can be posted to your record and the sooner your degree audit will be accurate.
I'm seeing some folks also showing that their transcripts aren't showing as received. Once they are processed, then they will show as received in the system. So there can be up to a 30-day wait depending on how busy the admissions office gets. And you'll see that in your reflect that it has been received in your application in your enrollment checklist, but know that there is a little bit of a wait time in that middle. Please don't spend the extra $10 and send a second one if it's not showing immediately. But if Parchment or whatever platform you're sending your transcript with shows that it's sent, it most likely is here. And it not being reflected as received by July 1st does not mean you're not keeping your admission status. It just means that admissions is in the process of processing it for you. There's a lot of ones here that are pretty specific. One thing I'll just clarify, letter of reciprocity, that's when you're transferring UC to UC and you're bringing classwork with you, and it's going to help you with moving over your GE requirements. So that's only happening if you're a UC to UC transfer. So some folks are asking about that. That's our UC transfer specifically. We also have IGETC, which might be a term that some of you aren't familiar with. IGETC is an agreement between the California community colleges and UC San Diego, well, the UC system and CSU system, that helps you bring your GE requirements over as well. So if you're not from a California community college, don't worry about IGETC. That won't mean something to you. And if you're not coming from a UC, do not worry about letter of reciprocity. Those are only for those types of specific transfers.
I'll also take this one. Is there any website or database besides assist.org where I can check how previous courses have transferred into UCSD in the past? So it really depends by department. I believe biology, math, and I want to say maybe computer science and engineering have web pages where you can see previous courses and what they've been applied to. But again, it'll depend by the department. So going through their webpage and looking to see what their webpage resources are at this point would be a good start. And then once you have access to the departments advising through the VAC after new trial advising is submitted, then you can submit a question directly to them if you couldn't find anything. But some departments do have web pages where you can look at it, but it's going to be, again, department by department. It's not going to be like a whole database system that's includes everyone, just like assistants.
If someone knows they're going to need to petition some of their coursework, how soon can they begin that petition process?
I would say as soon as the new trend advising stuff is completed, because the advisors are gonna need to have access to your record. So you want to make sure that's all completed. And then you'll be able to see the responses that you get from that. So definitely wait until the new trend advising site is open, and you submit your information. And the other reason is that there might be information in the Neutron and Advising from either your college or your major specifically on what the next steps are for you. So don't try to move too far ahead. Wait for that piece. And that'll really be the start of where you get to move forward.
And also,
And they should,
sorry, I just wanted to plug, not all departments, but many departments and majors will have a Canvas course. Canvas is a learning platform, a Canvas course over the summer that will get you all sorts of information about your major department. So be on the lookout for those as well. And that it's not across the board, but many major departments are hosting a Canvas course for their students over the summer.
and for that, they would log in you would need to set up your UCSD email, and then you would log into Canvas with your UCSD login for that to reflect. Is that correct?
I'm assuming there will be messaging and communication to those who have the Canvas course option, as well as I think part of it is sharing with students how to use Canvas as well.
Thank you. New Triton advising that we are all mentioning is the newly admitted transfers or the newly admitted student version of the VAC. So it will open June 18th and it will look kind of like it's basically your VAC until you're an enrolled student. That's the best way to think about it. So what you're interacting with within New Triton advising will be how you're using the VAC when you're a currently enrolled student. So that's a fair blanket statement, Veronica?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. I see a question about, can I waitlist in FirstPass? No. So one of the features of FirstPass is that you cannot waitlist. So you have to wait until your second pass enrollment starts to be able to waitlist a class that maybe is full and you're hoping you'll get into the seats. So first pass, only open seat enrollment, and then second pass, you can start to waitlist courses.
I also see that we're at 4 o'clock. I know there's a couple of questions here that are open. We can maybe take a few more before wrapping up. One question I've seen often is if they have priority registration, how does that look or what does that look like when there's a 2-pass system?
So with the 2-pass system, the students with priority registration will start to register at the very start of it. So they might have the 8 a.m. registration, say 8 to 10 a.m. And then after that, other students will start enrolling starting at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m. It is rolling. So if you do have priority enrollment and it starts, say, at 8 a.m., take advantage of that 2-hour time window that you have before other students start to enroll. Depending on the major, it can make a huge difference. So definitely take advantage of that priority enrollment or whatever enrollment window you have. I know some students think like, oh, it won't be an issue if I wait till tomorrow, or the end of that first pass, but it definitely makes a big difference. So as soon as your first pass enrollment window opens, if possible, go ahead and go in and just add the classes to your schedule.
I know we still have some questions here. One thing I want to make sure that we say is that we are going to continue to do sessions like this every Wednesday. We also have peer coaches available to meet. So I know there's a lot of questions. A lot of these are going to get answered in next week's session. And then we can support with our peer coaching appointments as well as New Triton advising. You'll be able to submit a lot of these questions as well. So I see a couple folks asking now, you do not have access to the VAC right now. You do not have access to New Triton advising right now. These are all going to be opening on June 18th. This is teaching you what that is and how to use it for when it opens in 2 weeks. But we know it's usually something that is making folks feel anxious. So we like to host it as early as we can so that you know when it opens, that's how to use it and what you're using it for.
And I see a question about MPE for transfers, and I just got an email today about this. So transfers, not all transfer students will need to take the math placement exam, MPE. You need it if your major needs math or if your college needs math. So for example, Revelle College, every single student, freshman or transfer, will have to take calculus. So those students will all have to take the MPE unless they have a calculus course that they're transferring over. But say you have IGETC from a California community college and you're transferring into, I'll say, Six College. They don't have a math requirement for transfer students, so you won't need to take math unless, or the MPE, unless you need it for your major. So if you're a theater and dance major going into Six College as a transfer student, you don't need to take the MPE. But if you're a, say, biology major going into, or I'll try to think of a major that's not, doesn't have that 7-course pathway that needs it. Maybe like econ, I think. But anyways, they need math. But if you're going into Six College, your college may not need it, but your major does. So then you would take the MPE if you don't have the required courses for your major already that are transferring over. So it just kind of depends. But you'll be able to start taking the math placement exam. Oh, I want to say it was July 15th is when they were going to start offering the free math placement exam for transfer students.
Um, yeah, a lot of the things I'm still seeing are transcript related, so those will get addressed next week.
I'm seeing quite a few about priority enrollment, like how do I get it? It's just based off of specific student statuses, like some veteran students may get access to priority enrollment, and that's because a lot of their housing and stuff is linked to their enrollment, and they have to be enrolled in specific courses that are applying to specific degree requirements. So they need to make sure that they get enrolled in the specific classes, or if they're on ROTC, they might have to, be able to navigate around certain schedules, like student athletes, scholar athletes. They'll get priority registration because they need to be able to navigate their schedule with their athletic schedule. And I'm trying to think of the other ones that may get access. But it's very specific students. It's not just like, oh, I would really like it. It's by necessity.
Student parents, if you're somebody who on your FAFSA, you report that you're financially taking care of children, that's someone who's classified as well. I see there's still some open questions. I know we're over time. I think we can wrap up for today and know that we will be back here talking about these same things next week. New Triton Advising is opening in a few weeks. Know that you can meet with a peer coach in the meantime, and also know that we will have a session August 6th about step-by-step loading up your shopping cart for the classes that you want to take and looking at all the materials before any of the registrations open for coursework in fall. This is just the very, very, very beginning. And if you're here, you're already ahead of schedule and ahead of time, and you're doing everything you need to do and more because you're in this presentation today. Of the over 3,000 incoming transfers, 200 of you are here. If you're here, you're already doing the right things and you're prepared. So please be proud of yourself for showing up and know that you're getting things done on time. Thank you so much for our presenters, not just for your time, but for your additional time as well. I will be following up with a recording and the slides, and Simon's been taking furious notes behind the scenes, and those will come to you by the end of the business day today. And we will continue to do those, and that comes from the Transfer Hub general email. So questions that come, you can forward them our way and we can redirect as best we can as well. Thank you so much, you two, for being here. And thank you, Simon, for all your notes. Bye, everyone.